Hey all, it's Lee Henkin here. Thanks for checking out today's video where we're going to be going through cold email deliverability. Okay, so basically I'm just going to give you the quick rundown on the most important things you need to pay attention to and basically set up step by step in order to make sure you typically are going to have solid deliverability. Make sure you land in the inbox. Okay, so while this is generally the most, in my opinion, boring part of cold email, it's definitely one of the most important, especially if you want to have long-term success with cold email. Otherwise, you're just going to, not land in the inbox. No one's going to see your message and you're not going to get any positive responses or booked meetings. So it's a really important fundamental. So basically, if you're starting from scratch, what you're going to do is really just follow these steps here that I've outlined. Okay, so kind of here at the top, this is generally what I've highlighted here, kind of the main components of deliverability. And I'm just going to unpack this step by step. So this is kind of the logical way to follow it as well if you're a beginner to this. So step number one here is pretty simple. That's just like setting up alternate domains and email accounts. All right, so this is super easy. There's no excuse to not do this. It's not complicated. It's not even really techie stuff. So you just use Google domains. That's the easiest. If that's not available in your country, then you're just going to have to use whatever else, GoDaddy or Bluehost or whatever. I use Google domains. It makes it a lot easier because with Google domains, you have SPF records, MX records, I think it's called, and DKIM authentication basically taken care of by default, so you just don't need to worry about it. The only thing you got to do is add a DMARC record into the DNS, okay? And there's plenty of articles on how to do that. I mean, you can literally, just for example, you just type in Google adding DMARC, spelled properly, DMARC record. And I mean, here you got from Google. So pretty simple stuff, really. You're just going to add a text record. I mean, you can just follow this article by Google, for example. And all you're going to do is just copy and paste this, basically this here. You obviously just need to change this solarmora.com to whatever the domain is that you're adding the DMARC record for, obviously. So it kind of should go without saying. So that's all you're going to do. Really simple to do. Okay, so yeah, Google domains, add DMARC records. Make sure you set up domain forwarding. So forward the domain like a website redirect to your main website. It's really important because some prospects will just like copy and paste whatever your alternate domain is into your browser. So you want to make sure it's actually redirecting. And yeah, that's basically it. And a general rule of thumb I follow is just 2 email accounts per domain. Yeah, I don't do more than that. Like if one domain gets ruined, basically all the email accounts will get ruined. That's why I only do 2 per domain and basically have like 4 or 5 domains per client campaign, sometimes even more depending on volume. Okay, so that's the key to do it. Multiple domains set up, multiple email, 2 email accounts per domain. So if you got 4 domains, you're going to have basically 8 email accounts. Okay, that's pretty much step one. Really simple. Warming the email accounts. Again, this is pretty simple as well. I mean, there's a lot of different tools out there. I personally use Instantly. It's really easy to do. I mean, I'm not going to go through step by step how to do that. And Instantly, you can just create an Instantly account and just go through their tutorials. I mean, they cover this very extensively in their tutorials and different help sections and stuff like that. But basically the way I set it up, once I've added the email account, authenticated it with Instantly, first thing I'm going to do is actually add this custom tracking domain. So they have this like code that you can just add into the DNS. So basically you just go back to Google domains here and you're going to go to DNS and you're going to add basically the custom tracking domain just in the same way you added the DMARC record. Difference being that the custom tracking domain is going to be a CNAME record and not a text record like the DMARC one was. So pretty simple though. Again, just literally follow the instructions Instantly gives you. It's not complicated. In terms of the warm-up schedule here, I basically set it to basically start off at 2 per day and increase by 2 per day, up to no more than 20 per day with 30% reply rate. Sometimes I'll actually set that to like 40%, but most of the time it's generally about 30% reply rate. So yeah, pretty easy. Once you've added the email account, added your custom tracking domain into the DNS, the Google domains, pretty much just, hit go and just leave it. So for at least 2 weeks, if it's a brand new domain and email account, then after 2 weeks, you'll be able to use it in a campaign. So those first 2 steps are really the infrastructure, okay? So if you don't do these first 2 steps, I can pretty much tell you're always going to have deliverability problems. So yeah, that's why they're the first 2 steps, okay? So you want to make sure you do that. Step 3 here, messaging. So kind of the next 3 steps I'm going to cover are kind of the more kind of ongoing things to pay attention to once you've actually got the first 2 steps done, the infrastructure. So the messaging, so there's kind of different things you can do here. So the 3 main things I look at are using various subject lines. So, you might have step 1 and then like an A, B, C, D, and E variant, and every variant is going to have a different subject line. You're going to use like first name, company name, maybe some location, whatever kind of merge tag fields make sense. You're going to use that in the subject lines. Helps make the text look a bit unique to the email server. Same thing with messaging variants. If you got like multiple variants, like, I don't know, just whatever you're testing out, you want to obviously like add them in, make sure they're all the merge tag fields are added. And another cool thing that's at least with Instantly is using spin text. So basically, I typically only do that for a call to action. So you can see here, like, this is pretty much how it's structured, how to structure spin text. This is an example of a call to action spin text. You can do this really with anything. Like, you can do this on like the first line, first paragraph, the body of an email, whatever you want to do. Like I said, I typically only do it with CTAs. I've done it before a little bit. Sparingly, like for body copy and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a really cool way to kind of help with deliverability because it obviously just randomly scrambles between like these 3 call to actions it would. And obviously that then makes each email look slightly different. So if you kind of have that in every email, plus like even in the body, if you wanted some kind of specific sentence with spin tags, it's just really going to make your emails look different, help them stand out a bit. So that's kind of the messaging side of it. And that's something, those 3 kind of things here are really important to do, just like an ongoing basis. Number 4 here, sending. So basically this is really important. So you don't want to be sending like 200 emails per day from one email account. You want to basically diversify it. So if you want to send 500 emails a day, you're going to use multiple email accounts. In general, I keep the range of about 50 to 70 per day per email account. 70 is the absolute max. In my experience, once you go above 70 per email account, you just over time will eventually have issues with like landing in the inbox, and it'll just affect your domain health. So yeah, pretty straightforward really. Keep it to 50 to 70 per day per inbox. Use multiple email accounts if you want to leverage volume. Don't send like 500 a day from one email account because it's going to get flagged at some point, okay? Number 5 here is kind of troubleshooting and ongoing management. So really important to always be warming. It's really important you do this. So I keep warm-ups running constantly. So generally what I'll do is when I finish like that 2-week warm-up period with a brand new email account, I'll just like knock the max daily sends of warm-ups to 10 per day. But I'll still keep it like a 30-40% reply rate. But I'll just leave that running in the background. Really important to do, just helps you with maintaining deliverability and hitting the inbox basically. One of the real cool things with Instantly, again, you'll see this if you create an account, is they've got like this health score. So it's basically from like 0 to 100. And you'll see like if it starts consistently dropping over a period of time, like when it's really good health, it's like at 100%. So if it starts like kind of over 2 weeks, it goes from like 100 to 80%, you're probably having issues with deliverability. When that happens, you just pause the email account, leave the warm-ups running though. So you'd pause it in the campaigns, leave your warm-ups running, and in my experience, after like a week or two, it'll generally be back to like 100% health. So yeah, it's actually a pretty amazing tool, this warm-up feature, and instantly how it actually recovers a domain and an email account is pretty incredible. Haven't seen anything else like it personally. So other things you can do too is use tools like Glock apps. That's pretty advanced. So that's what I used to use before I used Instantly. Since I started using Instantly, and as I said, they have great features for deliverability, I basically don't use anything else for warm ups or just like deliverability management, to be honest. But yeah, there are other tools out there if you want to utilize them, like Glock apps, for example. Yeah, there's probably plenty of others too if you just Google it. That's pretty much it. That's how I manage cold email deliverability. Okay, so as I mentioned at the start, these are the main kind of components, and this is how you want to follow this setup step by step. So obviously, start with step 1, 2. That's your infrastructure. Steps 1 and 2, and then steps 3, 4, and 5 is kind of the ongoing stuff, like just to maintain it. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. So honestly, pretty simple once you've done it a few times. But yeah, as I said too, it's probably the most boring part of this entire cold email lead gen process, honestly, but very important to get right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this gives you a bit of value. If you've got any comments, drop them below. If you like the video, like it. Show your support by subscribing to the channel. And yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for watching, and appreciate your support. See you on the next video.